Hey, my name is Jesse James, and welcome back to the channel. This is HD Dealership Life, which is where I give you a general view and see what it's like, take you all along with as I go through my week of making sales. For this week, we've actually got a lot of stuff in the hopper. We've had a lot of changes. If you've watched previous episodes, you'll remember I said, hey, my GM has been let go, so we're doing some shuffling. And that has led to a lot of other changes. I'll get a little bit more into that later in the week. For today, though, I have an appointment coming in on a O2 Shadow, so we gotta get that ready for him. So I often say I don't care what you ride as long as you ride, and that goes for these Shadows as well. Gonna get it dressed up a little bit, like clean it up some, you'll see. Excuse me, it's got some dust through there. But fuel injected O2 starts up like a top. Little dent there. Looks like those saddlebags are held on by aftermarket string. I doubt that's OEM, same as that bungee cord. But make a good bike for somebody for their first bike, and that's exactly what this is, potentially. Father-son setup. Son's looking to get into riding. It's actually, I think, nephew of one of the employees here. So we'll get him set up for it, let him ride around, go from there with it. Just got done with a phone call where definitely less than fun. Sales is a job of ebbs and flows. And that phone call was actually someone I had sold a bike to previously. If it was like, I want to say 3 or 4 dealership lives ago, it was a Red Sporty where I said in that video talking about how there's some bikes where you're like, whenever I'm showing them, I will tell the person, here's what I know is the issue, and I do not recommend it. If it's what you still want to buy, I can't stop you. Well, dude ended up buying it, needed an ECM, which for older bikes is tough to find, and it's still struggling to find it. But 883 Custom, this is one of those bikes that whenever I start showing the bike, like at the end of the day, I want to sell motorcycles. Bikes going out the door is how I make money and put food on the table for my family. But with the rust and like that bike needs an ECM, we took that bike in on trade, and it was actually one of my deals. And when working with this person, he was very upfront saying, hey, my bike needs an ECM. I still took it in on trade, but it was one of those things that for me, whenever I was doing my walk around on it and for selling, it's like, hey, this was outside in the elements, and like I disclosed all that information. Just because if it was me, I would want to know that. He's getting the rest of the stuff, needs to get it, to purchase it, get it done later in the week. But that is like my number one advice for anybody that is looking to get into sales. Harleys, cars, number 2 pencils. Super transparent. Like if you know something, like make sure you do everything you can to stand by your product. It's one thing for it to be, it's like, stuff happens. Jesus don't work here. Jesus, and that's one thing. But if it's something that you know, bring it up during your walk around. But brought that up, even though I disclosed that, very much is still blaming me. But I'm curious to see what y'all's thoughts are. Is that my bad, where I shouldn't have sold the bike because I knew there was something going on, even though I still disclosed that's gonna be taken care of? And as a dealership, we are still looking for that ECM. We've got one ordered from a company that makes them for it, and then we've even reached out to other Harley dealerships, and we're having them all send it over as quick as possible. But, or is it just buyer beware of the person brought it up? I'm curious to see what y'all's thoughts are, but still got to keep moving on through the day. Hey, so this is Future Jesse. I wanted to tell you what happened at the end of the story, because it didn't actually finish up that week. So after I recorded that little section there, I actually went and was talking with my manager about what was going on, catch him up to speed with some stuff with it, and he actually said that he was going to talk with him after that. Because even though for us as a dealership, we had said, hey, this is going to take a minute, and it was taking a minute, we do also understand that it's like, it sucks, lack of a better term, that it takes a while for the ECM to come in. So now we have the ECM, we're getting it all put into the bike and set up to go for him. But in that conversation, my manager actually talked with the customer, and they just had a conversation about what was going on, settled everything down as it were, and turned it into what was a very a hostile situation essentially, and made it into where like everybody's happy and kind of moving forward with it. Got that one sold. Ended up being very simple, good conversation. Definitely helped that family and of one of the employees here. So just goes to show, even though something bad happens early in the day, sales, it's a wave, man. Just got to keep riding it. So just got done talking with a customer on this bike. This is a 2023 Sportster S that we've actually taken the tins off of a 2024 Sportster S and made it a shark skin setup. Fella has a BMW dual sport right now and is looking for something that he could just throw around, and dude is exactly what I've come to call the dual sport customer. Somebody super researched, is looking into it, they know what they're looking at. And whenever he and I were talking about what that bike can and can't do, super spot on with some of the things. But the other part was just like with the Sportster S, the motor and the front end is great, but he was looking for it to be full performance across it and was comparing it to actually Ducati's Davil that they have. And this year, I believe they're doing a V4, so they're just a brand new refresh. And one, I've never played around with that bike for the refresh. I've only played around with the previous ones. But for what he was looking to do, I flat out told him, I was just like, this isn't fully going to do what you're looking for. And so we went out and did a test ride of it, and after we came back, he was like, yeah, you were spot on with a lot of this stuff. So it was one of those where, in the end, I personally don't think he'd be happy with that bike, and so I told him, and so it may have talked my way out of a sale, but I'd much rather him get a bike that he's happy with and come back just to show it and create a good relationship than potentially make a sale and then the fella absolutely hate the motorcycle. So that is actually a motorcycle of a customer. He bought that from me in 2023, so a couple years ago now. Coming in today, so that motorcycle is actually a previous customer of mine. He bought that back in 2023 from me, I want to say. Just came in. He wanted to do an appraisal of it, see about going over something a little bit newer because he's struggling to find parts, and he wanted to customize it a whole lot more. And whenever he purchased that motorcycle, that was actually what he called his today bike to get over to what he wanted long term. Whenever he was establishing his credit at the time from the money down, that was the only bike available that he could get started on. And it's what he wanted to do, so we took care of that for him. And now that his credit's in a stronger spot, he was looking over some different options. On that one, I actually don't know how that one's going to play out, solely because we couldn't do anything. As I said at the beginning, my GM was let go about a month ago now. We're still doing the transition period of it. And what that has led to has actually been a lot of meetings and stuff to where he's away from the tower. So got everything built up, sent over to him to look over, because the general sales manager, at least for here at my store, he likes to have a hand in every single deal that comes across his desk. And with my two assistant sales managers being very new, everything is having to fly through him right now. Well, he was gone into a meeting, so nothing could happen. Thankfully, this is a customer that I have a very good relationship with. He and I have talked off and on through the time whenever he bought his bike, which is something I definitely recommend if you are really buying or selling motorcycles. Develop a relationship with that salesperson long term, because it's much, especially like if you're in sales, be a good salesperson and continue to build that relationship. Be their guy. Everybody wants a guy, right? And if you are somebody purchasing a motorcycle or a car or anything, hopefully the person that's sitting on the other side of the desk is going to be a good resource for you whenever you're spending these thousands of dollars. And so customer and I have a good relationship. I explained what was going on. I'm going to call him back later and see what I can and can't do for him. Even if it's a no, I'm going to let him know. But yeah. Now, I told you that, guys, at the start of the video that I did interview for the assistant sales manager roles. I did not get it. I am still going to just be a salesman up here in the front, and while that's disheartening, it's not my decision, as it were. So, like, if I can't control it, don't let it have any control over me. The reason why I wanted to actually move up into that role is because while I enjoy what I do, I like playing around with the bikes, and I like helping people get a motorcycle. Long term, it's not something I want to do for 20 years. I enjoy building teams, running business, keeping stuff organized, and like making visiting. I want to make visiting a Harley shop to be like visiting an amusement park, because that is something that I was very passionate about, what my career was before coming over to this. For those of you that are new to the channel, I actually come from the amusement park field. I worked as an attractions manager for Holiday World and Splash and Safari full-time before switching over to sales. And for Harleys, it's that same feel of it's an event, man. It's a lot of, like, it's a life-changing experience. And even though there is banks and there's numbers and all that fun stuff, I still want it to do everything I can to make it a good experience, because it should be. And that's what I pitched with it. And my career, whenever it comes to career, I actually have a degree in corporate institutional communications. So everything from HR to PR, I'm trained to do. So from management, it comes very natural to me. And it's, again, that's what I enjoy. But they wanted to go in a different direction. I'm still employed, so gonna keep going with it, and just on to the next ride. Yesterday, it is now Friday. Had my second appointment came in late in the day, and the reason we actually met is he was coming in for service, and he and I just struck up a conversation about bikes, and he wanted to look at potentially trading his. And I don't know if it's like me, what I'm saying, or if it's just a weird week, because earlier in the week I had the fellow that was wanting to look at the Sportster S, and that wasn't going to be the right fit, and that's what I told him. For this guy, he had a 2011 Street Glide that was paid off. He had just bought a whole bunch of parts where he was wanting to put onto it, and whenever we were walking around looking at different bikes, he just didn't see anything that he really dug. I told, had kept talking some different bikes and always showing one more bike, different idea with it. But it just really boiled down to he was happy with his bike. He was open to the idea of going, but if you're not in love with anything if somebody isn't in love with anything that I'm showing them and their bike is still doing everything that they want it to do, doesn't make sense really too much. So yeah, and that's kind of that's where I told him in the end, I was like, it doesn't, if it don't make sense, don't do it. And he's like, yeah, especially he had apparently just bought a whole bunch of stuff to make the bike into a more modern setup, because he had bought it and it was set, sold it as 2011, so switching out all LEDs, Bluetooth radio, newer exhaust, and so it's got 80,000 miles on it, but he's a mechanic by trade, so it was he bought it as a cheap bike to build, and I'm like, it's doing that, man, so keep riding on it. But we'll see how the last bit of this week ends up playing for us. So my week has kind of come to an end with it. For the rest of the day, I wasn't really, I looked at buying a bike for the dealership. It wouldn't have made sense for him to sell to us, wasn't the best buyer. And now I am, with Rider Academy, we usually will do a tour and introduce them to not only the store, but also to some of the different staff here, since our coaches are part-time and they bounce between the different dealerships, but we're here all the time. And so now I'm doing that. News to me, but hey, I do tours all the time. That's a good idea to do a video of it in the future. But that is going to do it for this video. Hope you enjoyed seeing another week of Harley-Davidson dealership life. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you want to see more of this kind of behind-the-scenes sales content or bike reviews, give a subscription. More than anything, though, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you out there, right? When he asked him the phone, I was like,